Hi everybody, this is V with Passions and Distractions, and I am here with another video about working with chocolate. And this is where it gets real. So today we're going to start talking about molded chocolates. Now these are the really fancy chocolates, and the first place that you want to start is with your molds. So there are a few different kinds of molds that I'm going to show you. So you have silicone molds, which are really great. You can just pour the chocolate in there, and then once they're hard, they're pretty easy to unmold. Then you have plastic molds. So now this kind has the stick that you can actually put in there, and you can make your own lollipop. And then you have your basic kind of mold where you're just pouring the chocolate in. Now I'm going to show you something different with each of these. So let me remind you of what else you're going to need for this. Now you're of course going to need some chocolate. Clearly I haven't melted this yet. So this is just your regular flavor chocolate. But for this one, you're also going to need some of your white chocolate. This is vanilla flavored. Now, why do I want you to have this? Because today we start adding color. We start creating something new and sexy and vibrant. And with the regular chocolate, we're also going to add flavor. So you're going to want candy flavoring. Now, like I said, you can get all this stuff from Michael's. You can get it from a local bakery, supply store, craft store, that sort of thing. These are put out by Wilton. There's actually a few different people who put out some great flavorings and give you a wide variety. This 4-pack comes with cherry, cinnamon, peppermint, creme de menthe. I have some additional flavors in my drawer for things like pomegranate, strawberry, even marshmallow. I mean, there is just a wide variety. And then you're also going to need your colors. So I have a couple of sets here. Once again, these are put out by Wilton. You have a primary set, and then you have this, what they call the garden color set. It comes with green, pink, violet, and black. Now I will say that if you are going to need a lot of a particular color and you want it to be consistent, you're going to want to just go ahead and get the candy melts. They're already colored. You can just melt them down. That saves you a step. But if you're like me and you just need a little bit, then this is a great alternative. You're also going to want some of these great little paint brushes. So they're great for filling in the little nooks and crannies, and they're also just a great way of applying color to the original mold. Now you can get additional things like this squeezy bottle, and they have these that come in a lot of different shapes, or not shapes, but sizes. And you can just pour your chocolate in there and then just squeeze it out. They're handy. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. You're definitely also going to want a couple of different extra bowls because you're going to want to pull out some of your white chocolate so you can color that. You're not going to want a whole big bowl of one color probably. And this is also great for pulling out some of your chocolate just to flavor it. And then of course you'll want some spoons so you can stir everything and ladle it into the molds. All right, with all that covered, let's get started. So as you remember, we start with our big bowl of chocolate. Just microwave that starting in a 30-second increment, and then just keep going in 15-second increments until it is melted and has this nice drippable quality. So the first thing that we're going to start with is just adding some flavor. So I'm going to put some of this just right here in this bowl, and then I'm going to add some of my flavor. Now you're just going to want to add maybe 1 or 2 drops at a time. I'm going to start with a couple. Or 5. Whoops. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's very minty. I like a strong mint flavor. So far, so good. Then you just want to stir it in. Now, this shouldn't change the quality of your chocolate really at all. I mean, there's a reason that it's candy flavoring. You're not just using regular, you know, vanilla extract from the spice store. Now then, you're just going to take your mold, and I'm using the silicone mold for this one, and you're going to start pouring it into the little buttons. Just real simple. Just drop it in there, and it'll start to expand on its own. You don't want to overfill. You want to leave a little bit of border just for it to expand. Now keep in mind, when you're buying molds, go ahead and buy candy molds. Don't worry about buying like soap molds and, oh, I'm gonna use soap molds and I'm gonna get something else and I'm gonna get this new look. Like, yeah, they can work. Oops, overfilled that one. They can work, but they're pretty risky. There's plenty of amazing molds already out there. Now what I'm doing now is I'm just tamping this mold down so I can go ahead and get that pretty filled. And if there's one that I feel like needs a little more, like this guy right over here, I can just drop a little bit in there. Don't mind my cats. They're running around in the background. They're going insane. It's not a big deal. It's just a typical night at my house. So there we go. So now you have some of those filled up. I'm just going to go ahead and fill in one or two more. Really just put enough in there for a few of the buttons. This mold is super cute in colors. You can have a whole bunch of these little buttons. Say you want to have something like a corduroy party for your kiddo who loves corduroy, and who doesn't love corduroy? Well, how great would it be to have a bunch of those little buttons to be found? And then just tamp it down. And you can go ahead and put that in the freezer to cool off and get hard, or you can just set it to the side, but I'm not that patient. So while I'm waiting for that to set, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate one of these lollipops. Now these are really easy to make, and once again, you can use colors, you can use flavors, you can do whatever you want, but you'll find a lot of these molds, they'll spell out words, or in this case they'll look like little chocolate Easter bunnies. Isn't that cute? Yeah, it is. So all you have to do for that is just put in one of these lollipop sticks. Now this particular one is actually reusable. It's made out of a very hard plastic, and you can wash it off and you can reuse it. I leave that up to you if that's really a thing you want to do or not. Just know that it's a possibility. Or you can of course buy the paper kind, which are ideal for gift giving. So you're just going to want to go ahead and put that in there. And as you can see, mine is not actually really as long as the stick well. But the important thing is that you want to make sure that some of that stick is actually inside the cavity of the shape itself. So I really want to make sure this bunny has a stick up its butt. Bit like a former co-worker of mine. Ooh, shouldn't have said that. Anyway, this chocolate is still quite close to the texture I want. So this, compared to everything else, is pretty darn easy. Get yourself a little spoonful and just pour it in there. Now I probably should have remelted that some just to help it fill up a little bit more, but that's fine. Okay, so for some inexplicable reason, the phone stopped recording. So you didn't miss a whole lot though. Basically, I just encouraged you to keep using the spoon or using a paintbrush to nudge this into all the corners and to make sure the stick is pretty far in there. Not so much it's a choking hazard, but enough that when you bite in, it actually, you know, stays in and it doesn't just all crumble off the stick. So that's really all you missed there, and it's already starting to set some. So I'm going to put this in the freezer just to finish setting, and we're going to check on those buttons. Oh, and don't forget to tap it on the counter. Tap, 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 just to bring the air bubbles up. I already did that, so you missed that too. So while that's setting, it's time to look at our buttons. And as you can see, it's really hard to see actually on this kind of a mold because it's chocolate on brown. But because it's silicone, they come loose pretty easy. Like you can see it starting to pop out. And then you can just pull the mold away. Kind of use your finger to help push it out. It gets a little sticky sometimes. Remember, this has all those little nubs, so it'll kind of get stuck in there. But look at that, you have a perfect chocolate button. Ooh. And you can just keep doing that. So it's really easy to unmold these chocolates. When they're in the silicone mold, they're not as likely to break. And I will say I have a bunch of hard plastic molds. I don't think I have many of these silicone molds. And that just tends to be because the hard plastic is cheaper. And it's kind of what I've had access to. I find that they last really well. You know, you just clean them with soap and water. Don't throw them in the dishwasher and you'll be fine. But these silicone molds, man, look at that. That is just so great, isn't it? Yeah, super good. All right, let's move on to our next adventure. So for our next adventure, I'm going to be using this awesome Christmas light mold. And here's where we're going to work in the color. Now I'm going to keep it simple. It's just going to be color. We're not going to worry about adding flavors. And really, you can add flavors, you can add color. It doesn't really make it any more complicated. I'm just choosing to save myself a step. So I already have the white chocolate melted down some. Now I'm just going to ladle some into this bowl. Because as I mentioned before, this stuff will keep for a while. It's just going to firm back up. You just need to remelt it. So, you know, I don't want a huge bowl of green white chocolate. That's an oxymoron. You're just going to take this now and once again, you add in a few drops at a time. That's like 5, whatever. Oops. And it's more than that on my hand. Well, you know, try not to be a train wreck like me. But you know what? If you are, that's fine. I mean, I'm a train wreck, and look how happy I am. I'm making chocolate videos for the internet. Like, this isn't the worst way to be. Ooh, that's gonna stain the laminate. Hang on. Alright, so it doesn't actually stain the laminate as long as you clean it up. It will, however, stain your hands for a bit, and you'll walk around looking like the Hulk. Minus the part where his clothes rip, except for the parts that cover the parts that you wouldn't want to rip. Keep it family friendly. So, you're just going to take this coloring, and you're going to go ahead and mix it into your chocolate. Now, if you want it darker than this, then by all means, tackle that beast and pour in some more. But you know what? I'm feeling like I'm pretty okay just right here. So I'm going to get that mixed in. I do want to make sure that it is well mixed in. I don't want veins of color, and I don't want parts that are not fully green. So some of that's gonna stick to the spoon. You're just gonna want to get on in there. Just get on in there, scrape it off, get it in there. You know, this is why you wash your hands before you do this. You did wash your hands, right? Like, I didn't have to tell you that, right? Yeah, no, you're watching this video. You're totally hygienic. I can make all sorts of assumptions about you because you're watching a video I made. So now that you have all of that stirred in, you are now ready to put it in the mold. And guess what? This is where your paintbrush is going to come in handy. So now you have your mold, you have your green chocolate, and you have your paintbrush. What you're gonna do is you're gonna start with one of these, and you're just gonna put a little dollop right there. Boop. Right in the Christmas light. You'd probably do a couple more. Little dollop. Boop. See, that was not a little dollop. That one's going to be a lot of white chocolate. little dollop, or not. See, maybe if I just put less chocolate on there. Yeah, see, that's what you want. You don't want to completely fill it up. But don't worry, not all is lost on these. One, it's fine if it has more white chocolate in it. But two, once you spread it out, it's not actually as much as it looks like. So see, take this, and you're just going to spread it around the bulb part of the light. So what you're really wanting to do is you're wanting to coat that mold so when you look at it, it looks like a green Christmas light. Like I said, that one actually has quite a bit in it. You can take your brush and you can kind of scoop it out. And you can put it in this one that is looking a little thin. So see, now that one doesn't have as much white chocolate. So I want you to know, I totally did that on purpose so you could see how to fix this problem if it happened. At least that's what I'm going to do my best to convince you of. We're just going to take the rest and we're going to put it over in this one because this one already looks like it might be a little bit thin. And trust me, mistakes happen all the time. You know, I've been making molded chocolate since I was a kid. And as you can see, some days I'm just not as great and skilled at it as I am other days. Maybe if I made it every single day, I'd be really good at making these. And I would never make mistakes. But that's not my reality, and I'm actually going to bet that's not your reality either. So just keep brushing it in. You know, I have a lot. I'm not going to try to fill all these up in front of you. But just make sure that you've got a kind of thick coating. You know, you really, if you're with the effect that you're going for here, you don't really want to be able to see the chocolate that we're going to put in there. You don't want to really be able to see that through the light bulb part. Although I suppose if you do, you just tell everybody it's the filament of the bulb. So now you don't really want to tap that because you don't want to make the chocolate slump. However, you can hold it up, which I can't do on the camera, but you can hold it up to the light and look and see if you're missing any parts. Best I can do for you is kind of hold my hand underneath and see if I see my hand through the chocolate. And I don't. So, now that you've done that, don't put it in the freezer. You don't want it to harden that fast because you're about to add some others. You do that, it's probably going to make it crack. Sometimes it works. Most of the time it doesn't. So all you're going to want to do is make sure that you set it to the side and let it harden a little bit naturally. You'll see it going from being kind of shiny to having that kind of frosty matte finish. So let's set this aside and let's check on our bunny. Ooh, look at that frosty bunny lollipop. Yeah. So now as you can see, we got the stick sticking out of there. So now all you have to do is gently leverage it out of the mold. And you're just going to want to make sure that it's separating pretty well, which this one seems to be doing just fine. So with that in mind, if it is separating well, you can actually use the stick to go ahead and start lifting it out. But you're going to have to play that by ear. Boom. There you go. Molded Easter bunny. Nice chocolate Easter bunny. Dang, we're good. We are good at this. All right, let's take another look at those Christmas lights. So now, as you can see, you're starting to get kind of that frosted matte finish to them. So it is safe for us to go ahead and add some of this melted chocolate. And really what you're wanting to happen is you're wanting it to kind of remelt the chocolate, the white chocolate. So you want to make sure that it's fairly warm. So I actually have to re-microwave this because you see how there's big clumps of it like sticking to it. So hang on. And we're back. So of course this once again has our nice smooth texture. So what you're going to want to do is you're just going to take a little bit and put a little dollop in there. You know, just like before with the green, except really a little dollop. Boop. 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 Oh, magic, am I right? So now you're going to take another paintbrush and you're just going to use that to paint it over the green. And this is where you may find that your dollop was not sufficient. And you're going to paint that into all of the cavities. And you're going to let it just kind of soak in with that green. Now because it's warm, it's going to kind of reactivate that white chocolate. And you will be able to see the magic in just a minute when I unmold this. Let's grab a little bit more. We're just going to grab it directly with the paintbrush. That way I definitely just get a dollop and don't go insane. And just run that all through the cavity. See how great this is? Now you can go back and put a little bit more in these. A little bit more as in any at all, because I didn't put any in there. And you can fill in the cavity just like that. Now once again, you don't have to do it like this. You could do more white chocolate that's, you know, all one color, so they're just completely green bulbs. You could throw in a completely different color of chocolate. You could do black. I will tell you, black, it's pretty challenging to mix and not just get a gray. So this is one of those times where I would definitely use the candy melts that are already colored. Like if I wanted to make a whole bunch of bats, yeah, I would just do candy melts. Alright, so now we can put these in the freezer. We'll unmold them in just a minute. So we have now hit the moment of truth. They've been in the freezer for like 5 minutes or so. And we're gonna go ahead. I'm going to do a little bit of like loosening up there. A little bit of loosening. Some of them feel like they might be coming a little bit loose, easier than others. And then we're going to invert them. Oh, aren't you all ready to come out? Just one little stubborn person. There we go. And there you have it. Little chocolate Christmas lights. So see, now you have the lamp base that looks black like a lot of them do. Well, brown, but whatever, who's counting? And then you have your chocolate light bulb itself. Thank you so much for joining me and my whole cans. If you liked this, be sure to like it and comment. And of course, be sure to subscribe to my channel. And don't forget, I still have more coming in this series because there is so much more that we can do with chocolate. Thanks for joining. Bye.